Breaking news on a Saturday night of the spring game. Florida State gets some good news alongside Michael Langston, who is standing in the shadow of Bobby Bowden. Not Bobby Bowden Field, like literally the Bobby Bowden statue. My name is Tom Lang. There's the news. 4-star wide receiver B.J. Gibson commits to Florida State. Michael, how'd you find out? Did he just literally tell you? And what were the circumstances around this announcement?
Yeah, I kind of got something last night from a few sources that were connected close to BJ that you may want to be around and watch this one, because it's like it was basically like he's coming for another visit, and there's a reason for it, but they didn't tell me the reason. But you can kind of code words, you can kind of pick it up. But I think it's been that way for a while with him. Grew up a fan of FSU's, really liked him a lot. Explosive playmaker in space, really good in space. Not just a guy with quick, but certainly was great wheels and certainly will add a lot to. I talk about separation and routes a lot, and that's what BJ does. Also, a really good baseball player. He said he committed to both FSU baseball and football, so he's going to play both at FSU. So, but I think one that wasn't really a surprise to me. I think the only thing with me is, like, was he coveted more than everyone else that was kind of on their board, because they have so many receivers, and he certainly was. And just a really good pickup. I mean, they're really just building this receiver class up because they know, they're going to lose some guys more than likely after this year with Johnny Wilson, maybe Mikey Pittman, maybe some other guys. They could lose just, going pro and stuff. So I think they know they have to load up with this class, and they've certainly done that with Gibson tonight, and then a few days ago, LaWayne McCoy.
So, Michael, that's 4 wide receivers now in the class of Florida State. They're loaded up. You're absolutely right. But can you put into words the difference, like the night and day difference of wide receiver recruiting for FSU? It seems like it started with the transfer portal last year when they brought in the 4 guys, including John and Micah. But since that point, Michael, I mean, it's Hakeem Williams, it's Van Traven Jacobs, 2 guys that were on the field today for the spring game, and now 4 more right behind him. This is some kind of turnaround for Ron Dugans.
Yeah, it's amazing what happens when you win, isn't it? Like when you look good on the field and you win, and your product looks so much better. I remember when Jordan Travis was like only his first or 2 years there, and had a Kurt tell me, he's like, man, he's not that good. And then later, heard the same thing about receivers, like, man, need to fire Ron Dugans, he's terrible. And then now they get the transfers, and it's just exploded their whole class. And as what I tell people all the time is, like, yeah, he had to show himself. Ron had to prove himself, but at the same time, Ron didn't forget about how to coach football. Like, Ron knew ball and knew how to develop receivers, but just had to get something that clicked to get kind of the ball rolling, and they did that. And it's a vast change. I mean, it reminds me actually a lot of how we saw the big shift from the offensive line with Alex Atkins. Not as quickly as what Alex did, but it shifted pretty fast. And I think Ron's done a great job, and they're certainly getting a lot of top tier receivers, and they're probably not done. I've said this the other night, you could take 5. I could see them, the way this is going, it would not shock me. Like, I never thought I would say this, that they could take 6, because it has to be the right guy. But if it's the right guy and it's an elite guy, I think they're going to take as many as they feel like there's necessary to fill the roster, because I think they need like 6 or 7 when you add in who could leave and stuff like that, whether that's from the high school kids and, maybe a portal kid. So I think they prefer the high school kids, but they're going to take the best playmaker. And that, bottom line, if they feel like a guy in the portal is better, they're going to go that way. But they love all 4 of these guys, and they certainly are rolling with wide receiver recruiting.
So I'll ask about the 2-sport nature of this kid's talents, Michael, in a second. But do you think that, I'm just spitballing a theory here, and you tell me if it's nuts, do you think that because of the portal, and if you have depth at a position, you're going to get poached by other schools? Do you think that over-recruiting positions is now a thing more than ever because you got to guard against stuff like that? I know that you're alluding to guys going pro and leaving because they're going to the next level, like a Johnny Wilson or perhaps Pittman. But do you think that that's a thing now in this day and age of NIL?
Yeah, it has to be, because, I mean, everything you do, I mean, her, like, got a rumor, like, Rodney Hill's doing so good at running back, a lot of schools, are interested in him, because all the other backs are doing so good, so it's a nature of the beast that people are going to come after your players. So you have to over recruit to plan for. It's like you have to be a step ahead of what other teams can potentially do with, just filling your roster. And And at receiver and certainly running back and even offensive line, they've done a really good job of, people asked me last year, like, why did they take like so many offensive linemen? It's like, look at all the injuries they had last year, and they were able to plug Jazz in there, plug these other guys in there, and so injuries didn't kill them. So I think they've done a great job of managing that. And I think, yeah, they're going to over recruit in positions if they feel like there's a hole there, or they feel like there's a possibility that, hey, we're going to have to fight for this kid to keep him here.
And it says on warchant.com, the headline, 2-sports star B.J. Gibson commits to Florida State. So, Michael, tell me about the second sport he plays and whether or not that's a factor at the college level.
Oh, it's a very big factor. He actually committed to Tennessee, like out of high school a few years ago. Very, very, very important to him. I think he plays both of them equally, but that was, he told Link Jarrett, and just like he told Mike Norvell today, as far as when he committed. So that's a big part of his life. It isn't like just a hobby that he plays. I don't know. I know people are going to ask. I don't know his position and stuff. We didn't get into that kind of detailed stuff when we talked, but it's certainly something that's heavy on his heart that he definitely wants to play both. So I think that was a big part in also having a baseball program that has the tradition that what FSU has. And yeah, we know there's struggles with the first year with Link, but he knows what type of coach Link is. He knows a lot of his history about FSU, and he feels like they have their tradition and stuff that he's looking for in the baseball program.
So, Michael, we can see the sky behind you. It is dusk, near dusk at Doak Campbell Stadium. Are we done tonight? It's 8 o'clock as we're talking on Saturday the 15th. What do you think?
I think there could be one or two more, but we'll see. I think possibility, one more, I feel could happen, but whether that's tonight or tomorrow, but certainly I'll be here as long as there's guys here, so as there's a recruit here, I'm going to be here. But certainly if anything breaks, we'll let everyone know in Warchant. But based on, and I'll have a recruiting wrap a little later tonight, but based on everything I've gotten, it's been really positive for FSU as far as the visitors, and even some surprises like Landon Thomas again visiting FSU, 5-star tight end. So a lot of positivity as far as this spring game. I know Corey Clark and all the team guys have covered that really extensively, but if anything breaks on recruiting, certainly with a commitment, I'll chime in with you guys.
That Thomas kid might as well pay rent around here, Michael.
I'm telling you.
He's here on campus.
And I think that's significant too. Like the fact that Georgia's spring game was today, he's committed to that school, and he was supposedly here. I haven't saw him for myself, but supposedly he was here according to people we talked to. But I think that speaks volumes.
That's fighting words if you're Georgia. You don't like that very much, but we don't cover Georgia here. We cover Florida State. And remember, it's a flash sale through Sunday night at midnight. 4 months of coverage of Warchant.com for just $10. We've got you covered here on Warchant TV. Like this video, subscribe to it. He's Michael Langston outside of Doak Campbell with the good news. Perhaps we'll have some more on Warchant TV. Thanks, Michael.
You got it.